who's actually going to get the most out of a 14-foot sit-inside touring kayak? If you're a weekend paddler who likes to bring a cooler, a dry bag, maybe even a small rodent-drill setup out on the lake, and you want a kayak that feels stable enough for a few miles without turning into a canoe, this could be worth a look. If you're looking for a high-performance sprint kayak, a solo ultralight kayak you can toss in the trunk of a compact car, or you simply can't justify spending a few $100s on a boat you'll only use once a year, you'll probably want to skip it. And the big question, does the price match what you actually get for everyday paddling? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started digging into touring kayaks, the biggest hesitation I kept hearing from fellow paddlers was the trade-off between storage space and handling. A larger hull means more room for gear, but it can also feel sluggish when you try to maneuver in tight spots or strong currents. The Perception Carolina 14 sits right in the middle of that line. At 14 feet, it's clearly designed for longer day trips, yet it still fits on a standard roof rack without needing a special carrier. That makes it a realistic option for families or couples who already own a mid-size SUV or a small pickup. The big front and rear storage claim isn't just marketing fluff. The forward hatch opens wide enough for a 30-liter dry bag or a small cooler, and the rear hatch can accommodate a fishing rod holder or a second cooler without cramming. In practice, that means you could launch at sunrise with a packed lunch, a spare set of clothes, and a couple of fishing rods, then spend the entire day on the water without having to stow gear on a roof rack or in a backpack. For people who love to combine kayaking with other activities, think a paddly-and picnic or a paddling fishing combo. The storage layout feels thoughtful. On the flip side, that storage capacity adds weight. A fully loaded Carolina 14 can tip close to 250 pounds, which isn't a problem on calm lakes, but on a windy river the extra mass can make it feel less responsive. If you're used to a nimble 10-foot solo kayak that darts around obstacles, you might notice the Carolina takes a few more strokes to turn. The handling isn't terrible, but it's definitely more deliberate. That's why I'd say the kayak is best for paddlers who plan to stay on relatively open water and aren't expecting to be ducking into narrow backcountry channels. Comfort is another area where the product's superior comfort slogan translates into something usable. The seat has adjustable back support and a padded thigh brace, which for a 14-foot hull really helps reduce fatigue on a 5-hour stretch. In tests with a friend who has a slight lower back issue, the seat adjustment allowed both of us to find a position that felt natural, and we didn't have to stop for a stretch until after the session. The ergonomics are clearly designed with longer trips in mind, not just a quick paddle around the pond. Now, let's talk about the versatile performance tag. The hull shape is a moderate bottom with a slight rocker, which gives reasonable tracking while still being forgiving if you hit a wave or a floating log. On a day when the wind picked up to about 12 knots on a nearby reservoir, the kayak held its line without a lot of wobble, but you do need to keep an eye on your course. The steering isn't hyper-responsive, but you can make the usual slight corrections with the foot pedals on the rudder. If you're planning to use this kayak for fishing, the ability to stay relatively steady without constant pedal input is a noticeable plus. One of the less obvious strengths is the fact that it's proudly made in the USA. For many buyers, that's a comfort factor. You know the product meets domestic manufacturing standards and you have a clearer path if you need a replacement part. In practice, that means the hull is built with a rotomolded polyethylene that's thick enough to survive a few minor knocks without cracking. The kayak survived a minor collision with a dock post during a launch, and the hull showed only a superficial scratch, not a dent or a leak. That durability offers a peace of mind that some imported models simply don't provide. But there are hidden trade-offs. The price point sits in the mid-range for touring kayaks, and while you get solid construction, you don't get some of the high-end extras like integrated LED lighting, a built-in GPS mount, or a lightweight carbon fiber deck rig. If you're a tech-savvy paddler who wants every gadget you can attach, you'll need to purchase aftermarket accessories, which can quickly add up. Also, the kayak's weight, about 70 pounds out of the box, means you'll need at least 2 adults to lift it onto the roof rack, or a small crane system. 4 people.